Hey there, Vikings! Welcome back to the playthrough. We are back for episode 7, and we are getting ready to go back out into the meadows and do a bit more gathering and farming. We've got a few more things to find. First things first, though, we do need to place our bed back down, as we haven't done that, as we need to reset our spawn point to here. There we go, spawn point set. So that is a mechanic of beds that I have kind of overlooked in previous episodes, which is that your bed is also your spawn point once you have claimed it. You don't have to sleep in it in order to set the spawn point. You can just claim it straight away once it's been placed down. You just have to walk up to it and activate it. But yeah, if you don't have a bed down when you die and respawn, you will respawn back at the boss stones where you place the trophies after a boss kill. So yeah, just to be aware that once you've placed the bed down, make sure you claim it before you go off and do anything so that you've got a spawn point just in case. And yeah, so we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. We need to resort these chests, we need to repair stuff, and we also need to place back down the table upgrades. I'm also thinking about placing a window on one of the walls on the side so that we've got a way to tell whether it's day or night when we're in the building, and also so that we can see the weather, what the weather's like. Just while we're in the building, say if we've been in here crafting for a little bit and we need to know whether or not it's night time, we can always check. As we're now stood inside a building with a campfire, we won't actually get cold. Although I do need to check the mechanics on this campfire and how far the warmth spreads from it, because we do have it tucked right in the corner, and this is quite a big building, so it might not reach all the way over to the other side. It might not even reach about halfway. So yeah, we will double check that and maybe move the campfire at some point in the future. And we're just going to place our window here. Oh wow, those sunbeams look quite nice. I'm going to make it about half the size, so we'll put these little wooden half wall segments in so that we can just have a small window. I was thinking about putting these little doorways in, but they're not going to work as a window, like an openable thing. So we're going to just put these little half wall pieces in, just place them on the top here for now. But yeah, it's just so we can check the day and night time and whether it's raining or not. Rain will still be able to come in through these holes in the walls if it's raining against this side of the building. So we will have to find something in terms of like shutters or little doors or something that we can put on there to close off if it is raining, so it doesn't put the campfire out and damage any of the floor. I'm just going to put these half bits on the bottom, because then the lines on them match up with the other wood wall pieces. That's a little bit of my pickiness showing through there. I want everything to look as nice and as neat as possible. And yeah, that's pretty much the plan for today, is to go back out into the meadows and do a bit more gathering. Obviously we want to get the materials for that tanning rack upgrade, but we also need to continue searching for Black Forest biomes. Hopefully we'll find a couple that are nearby. We've got one already, but it is attached to a big mountain, so there might not be that much of the biome itself. It might just be a small piece surrounding the mountain itself, because the mountain is quite a later on biome. It's about halfway up in terms of the biomes list currently, so might not be that big of a Black Forest biome. But we do also need to go hunting for some crypts for certain items. Oh, sorry, not crypts. I've learned recently they're not called crypts, they're called burial chambers. I've just got crypt stuck in my mind. So, yeah. I think that's the marker I put down on the map when I find them as well. I just put crypt rather than burial chamber, because it's a shorter word. And it's not taking up all that space on the map with the marker and the writing underneath it. We also need to continue looking for abandoned buildings to find some bloody bees. We desperately need some bees. I know I keep harking on about this. I've mentioned it loads of times previously, but we definitely want some bees. Honey is very important. I cannot stress how important honey is for cooking, especially later on in the game. There is a Mistlands recipe that uses honey, so it's something that you'll use very late into the game, so I would highly recommend focusing on getting as many bees as possible. And yeah, so we're going to go back out into the meadows, do a bit more exploring. Hopefully we'll find some more Black Forest biomes and gather up all the materials that we're going to need. Okay, so you will have seen there that our run skill just leveled up, and I haven't really covered skills in the playthrough, but you might have seen over the several episodes that we've leveled up certain skills several times, especially when we pick up new weapons and tools. They always level up quite quickly for those first few levels, so I'll just give you a brief overview of skills and how they work. So every action or majority of actions and all of your weapons and tools all have an associated skill. that level up the more you use them. So there's stuff like running, jumping, swimming, blocking, woodcutting, mining, and all of your weapons, stuff like that. These skills will all level up the more you use them, and they gain various bonuses depending on the actual skill themselves. So there is a universal bonus that every skill gets, which is the reduced stamina cost. So when you're sprinting, you can sprint for longer, you can jump more frequently, you can attack more frequently with your weapons, stuff like that. That's universal for every skill, I believe. And then for stuff, say for your running, you get a quicker sprint speed, you get higher sprint speed. For jumping, you can jump higher. For woodcutting, I believe it's the damage it does to the tree. For blocking, it's your block value, so that you can block more damage before you stagger and before you take damage from it. And then for your weapons, it's different for every single one, but the way it works is that you get a percentage increase to your damage and you get a percentage increase to your knockback. So that, I believe the way it works is that the bigger weapons, so like the two-handed weapons, get a smaller damage increase, but they get a higher knockback bonus, whereas the smaller weapons get a higher damage increase, whereas they get a smaller knockback bonus. I believe that's how it works. If you want to know anything specifically about skills and leveling up and stuff like that, then I would recommend going and reading the Valheim wiki. There is a big breakdown, a big table of all the different skills and the bonuses they get, and the skill maximum as well. I'm pretty sure the skill maximum on the game is level 50 at the time being. It could be higher than that though, so I'll probably double check that and get back to you in future. And, perfect timing, we've just come across a bit more Black Forest. I'm just going to kill these boars first and grab their scraps. Thanks very much, you two. Your scraps will be put to good use. And yeah, those are Black Forest trees in front of us, those more pointy trees. They are pine trees, I believe, and I'm pretty sure, I'd absolutely blow my mind if I'm right about this, I'm pretty sure this is a mountain as well. I can't actually believe that. Another mountain this close to our home. We've already got one to the south and there's one to the west as well. That is mad. Yeah, that white tree up there, that's definitely a mountain. 2 mountains right next to our home base. That's ridiculous. I've never seen that before. In the majority of playthroughs I've ever done, especially because I always build my home base pretty close to the boss stones. I don't go that far away before I build my first base. I've only ever seen 1 mountain nearby a base. I've never seen it that close. But to have 2, that's mad. I can't believe that. I'm just going to put some markers down for these as well, so I know that they're here. At least it's somewhere. I like this Black Forest biome though, because it is right next to our main base as well, so getting here, this will probably be the first place we come when we actually decide to come to the Black Forest, because this is right next to our main base, so it's a short walk over here. That is one thing I decided to do with this exploration that I was doing for today's episode, is that I decided to stick to the coast whilst going along. I thought that would be a better idea in terms of just exploring new areas. One thing I do when it comes to later on in the game, when we've got access to better boats or faster boats, is that I explore the coastline with boats as well, so that we can get a brief overview as to which biomes are on which islands and the size of those biomes and stuff like that. It can be quite time consuming, so I will probably find a way to speed that part up, or it might be something that I'll do in between episodes. So let's just say at the end of one episode I'll show you the map, and then I'll do a whole bunch of exploring on a boat, and then at the start of the next episode I'll show the map again and just explain where it is that I've gone and stuff like that. But yeah, I prefer to stick to the coast when it comes to exploring a lot of the islands, especially with the bigger boats, because they are a lot faster, so it's a lot quicker and easier than just running around on your feet. And at the minute we only have a certain distance that we can travel because of stamina and speed restrictions, and with daytime and stuff I don't want to be out at nighttime too much. I could just pull a torch out if we're out exploring at nighttime, but I kind of want to avoid being out at night as much as possible, at least until we've got a semi-decent armor set that's protective, so that we can explore at nighttime in the meadows and the Black Forest and not worry about being attacked by something too dangerous and getting killed by it. Just try and kill this bloody grayling. The one thing about the spear I dislike as well is it's got a very short range. Very strange considering it's a spear and it's very long, but the standard melee attack for it is very close range, and if they are stood a bit lower down than you'll miss very frequently, so you kind of have to really run up to them or adjust your height so that you're below them so that you can actually hit them with your attack. Excuse me, I hiccuped there. But yeah, I can tell that looks like we're getting a bit close to nighttime now. Looks like it's getting a bit darker, especially under these trees, so we'll probably just do a little bit more exploring. just check out the local area, see what we can find, and then we might head back and sleep through the night. And here we are, back home after our little expedition out to do a bit more exploring. I'm still quite surprised we found another mountain whilst we were out there, I really am. But I think for now we're just going to stack stuff into the correct chests. That place stacks option at the top right of the chest is such a good option. All you have to do is click one button and everything's stacked in there. Perfect. Makes it so much easier for organising stuff at the end of an expedition to gather things. And now that we've done that, I think we're just going to sleep up, get through the night. I think we're going to be on day 8 now. And I think we're still going to need to go out and gather a few more things, and we do need to double check whether or not we have enough items for the tanning rack upgrade for the crafting table. But it was just the fact that it got to night time and I didn't want to stay out for too long. So, and because we were right next to our base as well, it was just a short walk back. But yeah, we are just going to pop out and grab a few more things. Also want to check on the piggies at some point. But yeah, one thing I would say is that we are getting pretty close to the end of our Meadows experience. Obviously, we still need to go and kill the boss. That is the main thing that we still have left to do. Still a couple of other little bits that I've been harking on about several times over. Bees and crypts, but we'll find those when we find them. They are very important, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to dedicate hours and hours of time into searching for them when there's other things that we could be doing as well, like exploring for more Black Forest biomes. Especially ones that are closer to our home, so that we can easily go there once we've killed Eikthyr and we're ready to move on. The piggies seem to be doing just fine. Perfect. Right, let's just head back out and do a bit more hunting, I think. Don't really need too much, but we will grab a few more deer and maybe some boar if we can find them. Oh, there's one right there. How perfect is that, right next to where we needed him? And you can see there the arrows are getting a bit better and a bit more efficient to use. They are travelling a bit faster. They are dealing a bit more damage as well, because we are levelling up that bow using skill. And there is that kind of like that high pitch, kind of not squeal, but that kind of whistle almost that you hear when you hit an animal that's not aware of you. That is the sneak bonus. So that's the game's like indication that you're getting the sneak bonus damage from hitting them whilst they're not aware of you. You'd get the same if you were sneaking up behind them with a melee weapon and you hit them. If they weren't aware, you'd get that kind of high pitched whistling sound, or kind of not squeal, but I'd probably say it's more of a whistle. But yeah, we're back out and about. It's lovely daytime. The weather seems to be okay today as well, so we will just go out and about, do a bit more exploring, try and uncover these areas of the map that are still covered, because I don't like them, especially when it's these tiny little wisps of marks on the map that are still covered. I can't stand these. I have a little bit of I'm a little bit obsessive when it comes to these things. I have to make sure they're properly uncovered, because it's just, yeah, there could be something really important under there that I haven't seen, so you never know. Grab some more mushrooms as well. We do need to hopefully find some more mushroom areas on the map. We haven't got too many of those. We've got tons of the raspberries, but we haven't got any, or that many of the mushrooms. I think we've only got 2 or 3 of them. So we're going to hopefully find a few more of those and mark them down. Now, I have been checking some of the raspberry areas as we've been out and about, and I have also noticed that we're on, day 8 now, and some of the raspberry bushes haven't respawned in terms of having raspberries on them. So I think my initial idea that it was about a day or 2 in-game for them to regrow is probably incorrect. It might actually be like a week or maybe even longer than that. Because, yeah, we have walked past a few of the raspberry areas and I've seen the bushes, but they haven't had any raspberries on them. So it might be a bit longer than that for them to regrow. We'll have to specifically check that and maybe reference this again in the future once we've discovered it. But I believe we marked a lot of them. We've got lots and lots of markers for them on the map, so yeah, we're just going to mark another one here. Like you can see there, we've got lots and lots of them, so we can always go and check the further away ones. It might just be that the ones we're checking have been ones that we've picked recently, so that's why they're not regrowing as quickly as I thought they would. But hopefully they will regrow soon enough, because we are going to need a lot more raspberries for our boar farm. Oh, there's another boar here. Let's check this guy out. Trying to sneak up on him. Usually, so if you can see the red exclamation mark above their names, sometimes you'll see a yellow one that's got a couple of like lines next to it as well. So that's when they're kind of aware of you, like they have an idea that you're there, but they're kind of investigating to see where you are. You can still get the sneak bonus for hitting them with that. It's just if you notice that and you're trying to sneak, then you're going to be discovered really quickly. So you're going to have to either run, like get away from them, or just hit them really quickly just to make sure you still get that sneak bonus. Pop another marker down there. There's lots and lots of raspberries in this meadows. I'm really quite happy with how many we've found so far. It's certainly going to help us in the long run, especially so we don't have to keep going out and farming more. And you could always knock the bushes down, but I wouldn't recommend it if you wanted to farm a lot of raspberries in a short period of time. You get a little bit of wood from the little bushes, I think. You will also deal extra damage to the bushes if you hit them with your axe, because there is damage resistance and damage weakness in the game. So each of your weapons and your arrows and stuff will have a differing damage type. Most of your most of your arrows will be piercing damage. You will have some that are, say, fire arrows, which will deal extra fire damage. You'll have poison arrows, things like that. They will have different damage types on the arrows as well, but enemies all have a weakness to certain types of damage and a resistance to certain types of damage. So fire damage is, the Greylings are weak to fire damage, so if I was to hit them with the torch, the burning damage would be a lot higher than it would normally. And then if I was to hit this deer with an arrow, it comes up white, which is, when you see the numbers that come out for the damage that you've dealt to them, they come out white, which means that it's just standard damage. There's no resistance or weakness to it, it's just standard. If it comes up as yellow, that means it's weak to that damage type, which means you're dealing extra damage. And if it comes up grey, it means that they are resistant to that damage and you are dealing less to it. So just something to be aware of when you're fighting certain enemies, that if it's coming up grey and you're doing a lot less damage than you normally would be with that weapon, you might want to switch up and use something else. It is one of the main reasons why I'm still carrying the club. Even though we've got the spear upgrade and it does a lot more damage to these Greylings and stuff like that, we do need the club for other enemy types that we're going to be facing very soon, that we're going to use it on. So we are keeping the club for that purpose. And just quickly, you may have noticed something that I've done a few times over the past couple of minutes, which is zooming in and out with the POV. So you can zoom in and out with your POV. It's quite simple to do. If you're on mouse and keyboard, all you have to do is scroll with your mouse wheel, and that'll zoom in or out, so you can zoom right up close. When I'm in a forest like this, I prefer kind of zooming up close, especially if I'm just traveling, because when you zoomed out, a lot of the leaves and tree branches and stuff can kind of obscure your view, and it just makes it look a bit awkward, and your camera is like zooming in and out naturally because there's branches and stuff in the way. So I usually zoom in a bit closer when traveling around the forest, and then if I'm trying to say shoot an arrow that's quite far away at something close to this, at something that's quite far away, I will then zoom in so I've got a better view of the thing I'm trying to shoot. So using mouse and keyboard, you just need to scroll in and out with your mouse wheel, and then if you're on controller, you need to hold down the left trigger and then use your up and down on your D-pad. That will zoom you in and out. That's why you keep seeing my character kind of put up his arms. That's the block. Whenever I do that, because obviously you're holding it down to block, but then you're using D-pad to zoom in and out. The functionality with the controllers is it's great, don't get me wrong. You can pretty much do every single thing in the game with your controller. There's no worries there, but it's obviously the functionality is that, you know, when you're holding down your left trigger, the game thinks you're blocking, so you hold your hands up and then you start zooming in and out. So yeah, that's just a quick thing about blocking there we're doing. Oh, here's another runestone. Let's have a quick read. It might be something new. Don't think we've seen this one before. Leave it up there for a couple of seconds so people can read it. And then yes, we're going to continue exploring, continue trying to find the things we're looking for. Whereabouts are we? We're actually quite far away from home. Well, I say to the north, we're pretty far away. Might as well continue exploring outwards a bit more, try and find a few more of these things. Gather a few dandelions just because they're here. Ah, another abandoned building. Perfect. This one looks a bit more like a barn. Oh, there's a deer. We'll just get them first. We will go and check this barn out. Gosh, I hope there's some bees in here. Usually you can see them from the outside because the hives do kind of stick out the corners of the roof a bit, but that is the best place to look when you're looking in abandoned buildings, is on top of the roof. You'll usually see them when you walk in, but just in case, you need to check the top. And obviously there wasn't anything there. Another building, another failed attempt at finding bees. Grab some coins from that chest. Just figure out where we are on the map. We've still got plenty of time left to do a bit more exploring, so we will just continue going around. It is quite strange that I haven't managed to find that many bees yet. Usually we would, we haven't found any yet. Usually we would have found a fair few by now, but... Oh, there's another ball. Let's just get this guy. I wonder what these stones mark, because it looks like some kind of maybe like an explosion bit. They also look a bit like fingertips. Those two big stones there, but if they actually go around in a circle in this area. I wonder what they represent. It might just be a thematic thing they put in, or maybe it doesn't mean anything. Or maybe it's something for later on in the game. Maybe we'll unlock something in Ashlands that allows us to come back to these areas and find things. And it started raining. Perfect. So now we have the wet debuff. Oh, hungry too. Let's just grab a quick strawberry, get some more stamina. Strawberry again. Raspberry, sorry. This is going to happen a lot. Thing is, even if I look at the picture for the raspberry in more detail, if you look at it a bit closer, it does kind of look a bit like a raspberry. You don't usually see raspberries with the little green bit on top. That's what makes me think of a strawberry, because strawberries obviously have that kind of star-shaped kind of green leaf on the top of the berry itself, whereas raspberries don't really have that. So I think that's what's making my brain go strawberry all the time. But yeah, and if you do look at the picture a bit more closely, the actual berry itself does look a bit more like a raspberry. I have done a bit of investigative searching on it, and it does look a bit like a raspberry. My initial thoughts that it looks like a strawberry were wrong, but it's just that green bit on the top. I don't really see that many raspberries that have that green bit on top of them, but I suppose I don't really eat raspberries that frequently, so it's not something I'm well versed on. Just going to keep exploring around. There is a bit of mist now because because it's raining. Try and avoid these neck. Oh, there is another boar. We'll grab him. Get some more leather scraps. That's pretty much what we're doing. I did quickly have a look at the tanning rack upgrade, and we didn't have enough materials for them, so that's what we're doing now, is we're just having about gathering more leather scraps and more deer hide. I think we've got enough flints, but we'll probably grab a few more bits of that if we pass any, just to make sure. Oh, there's a neck chasing us. So might as well get his tail if we can. And because he stood slightly lower than us, we can't hit him because the attack range is ridiculous with this friggin' spear. I think we might start heading back now. I think we've got everything we need. Yeah, we're pretty close to base. We might as well just head back and finish off. Especially now that it's raining, this wet debuff is a bit of a pain. And because our rested has worn off as well, we aren't getting that increase from the rested bonus in our stamina regen, so we're just getting a negative effect from the rain. As you can see there, it's regenning a bit slower than normal, but it's not that bad. The wet debuff isn't too bad. I think it's because the wet debuff isn't that bad compared to cold, because the game knows that the wet debuff is something that you can't really avoid a lot of the time, because obviously if it starts raining or if you've got to go through water, if you're sailing, stuff like that, you are going to get wet, so they've made it a bit less punishing than the cold debuff, because obviously the cold debuff is something you can avoid later on in the game, and obviously you can sleep through the night and things like that. So yeah, I think they've just been a bit more generous with that one. There we are, look at that lovely building off in the distance. I kind of like this little hut here as well. It kind of looks a bit like a chicken coop or something. We might even make use of this, although it's quite far away from the house, so I don't know. We might knock it down and repurpose it a bit closer later on. Although there is one right there as well, so could always repurpose that. All of these buildings that you'll see, these random generated buildings, they are all using materials that you've got available in the game as well, so you can always rebuild things like that. Oh, that's weird. I had to kind of jump up there to get in. That'll be an issue with the flattened ground. We might have to raise that at some point. Go just dump all the things in the chest. Dump things in there. Got another deer head, although I think we've got plenty of deer heads now. Take the cooked meat back. I'm not sure why it stacked the cooked meat in there. That was kind of strange. Pop the deer head in. Right. Put the coins in as well. We don't really need those just yet. I need to go and grab the scraps, the hide, and the flint. I think that's everything we're going to need. Go to crafting. Yes, we can build it. Tanning rack. So with the crafting menu on the hammer, a quick thing to notice is that if the item is coloured when you're looking at it on the crafting menu, that means you've got the materials and you can build it, and if it's greyed out, you can't. So that's just a quicker way of knowing if you've got the items for it, and there you go. We can see here that we've got that level upgrade. We're now level 3. If you look at the workbench menu on the right hand side, you can see the star with 3 inside it. We have just made our leather helmet as well, so that will put our armor up to 6 now, I believe, and it will give us a nice little hat to wear. We don't have the bone we need to make the leather cape, which is a bit of a pain, but leather capes are only worth like 1 armor, so they're not massively important, but again, it's more a visual thing. I kind of wanted to finish the whole set. Yeah, that looks cool. I especially like it with the beard. Awesome. Okay, that's our full armor set. We are pretty much ready for Eikthyr yet again. Let's do a couple of upgrades. Do our flint spear. We're definitely going to want that leveled up. So our flint spear is now level 2, which means it has a higher durability. We'll do a bit more damage. We will also upgrade some of our other bits as well, especially before we go off into the Black Forest. So we'll definitely upgrade our shield. We'll probably do our spear again. We might even do the club. We can also upgrade things like our hammer and our hoe and stuff like that. It's not massively important right now, as we don't need to use them frequently enough that we have to upgrade them, but it will be something I might look at doing. It's just so we don't have to keep repairing them as often. That's literally the only reason I would do it. It's not massively important. And because it's raining and because it's near nighttime, I think we'll just sleep off again. Try and get this evening zipped through. jump on through to day 9, and yeah, we'll get the day started and head back out and gather anything else we still need to do. Probably do a bit more exploring, and then we'll carry on with that.